Hey guys, welcome back to Cornucopia Bros. I am one of your bros, Aaron.
And I'm your other bros, Jacob.
I like that you add bros to the end, like there's many of you. Like, I'm your other bros.
There might as well be.
Well, first of all, I hope you guys enjoyed last week's conversation about collecting. Collecting in general. Which is funny because we purposely left off video game collecting.
We tried to. I think I might have brought it up a couple times.
Well, that's alright. But this week's topic is shitty games we played. Or really bad games we played.
Now, bear in mind, you can like these games. That's fine.
Yeah, if you really like Breath of the Wild, I mean, you can really enjoy it.
But, I mean, we're not saying you can't like these games. Like, you can like these games. It's fine. But these are just games that we think are very not good.
And I'm going to say I think a lot of, not early YouTubers, but probably 2010s YouTubers made a lot of their income off of playing really bad games with like bad stories or just bad gameplay in general. I don't think any of these games are on there because some of these are more recent than others.
Well, I mean, one of them's going to be on there.
Yes, one of them. I think we'll save that one for last because neither one of us played it, and neither one of us can find it anymore because of how crappy it is and how blackballed it got from.
But at least in my case, I've seen at least 2 playthroughs of it.
Yes, and I don't know how you even went through.
Because I enjoy seeing people suffer through bad games. I don't know what it is. I mean, a lot of people enjoy watching other people suffer through bad games. That's why certain people are popular nowadays.
That's true. Yeah, because that was PewDiePie. I mean, he didn't play like bad games, but he played games that weren't the norm. But he also added like captions and stuff to them. So he's like yelling and saying all these words that you don't know, but you hear him on the bottom and you're just reading that, and but.
Yeah, he's a subber.
Yes, he is.
Going back to our first podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Nice.
He's not a dub; he's a sub.
Actually, he doesn't do it anymore. I think he only plays like Minecraft. I mean, okay, I don't follow PewDiePie that much, but this podcast is about PewDiePie. So I'll go first. This game is more recent. It came out in 2019. I think it. Oh, maybe it might have been 2020. It might have been 2020. If you could do a quick Google search for it. But Metro Exodus.
I think that was 2019.
Think it was 2019? I remember. I just feel like I was. You're probably right. I think it was early 2019. I think I played it early 2020. This game, I guess, it had development problems. It was coming off of Metro Last Light. I think that's the second one.
Yeah.
Which, because there's Metro 2033?
2033, yeah. And then Metro Last Light.
And that's where that one went. It went mainstream. And went, like, a lot of people knew it, and so it was kind of like...
I think Last Light is the one that was like, yeah, you know that book that came out that the first one was based off? This one has nothing to do with that. This one is it an original story? I'm pretty sure Last Light was an original story.
Okay. And so then Exodus comes out, and...
Maybe I'm wrong. Please don't quote me on that.
Yeah, we should, even though this is our 3rd episode and out of the Cornucopia thing and our 5th episode of the other channel. We're not journalists. We don't know it, so feel free to back. Don't just blindly listen to us.
We're just people who enjoy games and occasionally enjoy the sound of our own voices.
Exactly. So, but this game, there's another game that's going to come up, but I'll save that part for when it comes up. I can already tell that this game was probably, I don't want to say trash, but not $60 worth. And I'll tell you why I know it's not $60 worth, because I played probably about 15 hours of it. I think from start to finish, it's not a long game. But I came into a glitch that I've never encountered before. I remember I did some melee move to a monster or a zombie, whatever they are, and my hands ended up disappearing. Now the gun's still moving around; it's just floating in midair, and this is a first person survival shooter. And it didn't quite. I was watching the game, and I'm like, somebody just feels fucking off in this game. And then it just hit me. I'm like, wait a minute, where's my fucking hands at on this game? I've never felt it. I've never seen a game break that much, and it just the rest of the game is.
So what you're telling me is you didn't even have the weenie hands.
No, I didn't have the weenie hands from the snack. Oh my god, I can't even. Bug snacks. My weenie hands.
I just like to say weenie hands.
That was a fucking. I really like that trailer. That's what really. I was gonna buy the game anyways, but that sold me on that. But so that's all I really had to say in Exodus. It was a game that I was looking forward to, and it had a lot of controversy. This was when Epic was coming out, and they brought the exclusive rights for 1 year, which I think probably helped which in hindsight it probably helped. I don't know who the people who make this. I know it's Deep Silver publishes it, but it probably did help them to have some money in to begin with. So. You can go ahead with your game.
So, my most recent game that I've played that I was just appalled at, like a game that physically made me sick to play, was Elix.
Oh shit! Yes,
which is unfortunate because Elix is like, hey, what if we took magic, dinosaurs, futuristic technology? Just all these things that don't fit together, and we just blend it.
Yes.
And I played it, and it's just like, I couldn't get into it. Like, everything, all the enemies just destroy you immediately. Like, even, like, the baby enemies. You're just like, oh, look at that cute little squirrel, and then it rips off your face, and you're dead. I mean, it gets better once you get a partner, but, like, your partner still sucks. So it's just like, everything about it just felt bad. I mean, the main character was a brick.
Really? Like
literally a brick.
Like you're not having.
He had no emotion. There's a plot reason for that.
Now I do think that we have some. You saved some clips and you gave them to me, so they will be. Look forward to clips of the day because I think I do have some of them. The dialogue's just fucking beautiful.
But so there's a plot reason for why this man sounds like has the charisma of a rock, and I don't mean the Rock. I mean a rock.
I shouldn't drink.
But just it never felt fun to play. It never felt interesting. Like. You'd think, like, oh man, sci-fi blaster. I'm gonna go mess up that dinosaur, and it's just like, no, I don't really want to, because that dinosaur's just gonna, just shrug off the gun and just kill me.
Well, at least they made it realistic.
Yeah. But just everything about that game, even the frame rate. So I played it without the patch, because I'm like, there's no online in this game. I'm just gonna jump right in. I'll let it download in the background. And I swear to God, it looked like I was playing a game from, like, 2005.
See, now the people listening are going to come for you because they know you didn't... It's like, if you had the patch first...
It's true, if I had the patch, maybe the frame rate...
Now I'm judging you on your game.
Maybe the frame rate wouldn't have tanked, but that wouldn't have fixed anything else.
It probably was...
Everything else just felt like jank. And it was just... It was bad. It sucked. I couldn't. I tried several times. I couldn't do it. It's bad. I'm sorry.
It's funny.
Do you want me to go next? Oh, do you want me to go on my next game? Or
how many games do you have on your...
I've got 4 written down, but one of them's saved for last, so...
I'll go next just because I got...
I'll probably think of a few more. One of them...
We don't plan anything on this podcast, and that's for losers. No, I'm just kidding. You can plan shit out. This game, I don't really have much to say. Never did. This game came out, I think, 2011, and I think if you remember me talking first or second episode about money. And this was like when I had $10 an hour job, so I had to kind of pick what game I was going to play. And so this game came out, did not get good reviews. And if you know the premise of Never Dead, you can't die, but you can. You can get eaten by. So what happens is this is one of those games that's like, oh, we had an original idea. It's not. I don't want to say it's original, but a lot of games don't do stuff like this. But you basically disassemble your body parts.
Oh yeah, you disassemble.
Yeah, disassemble. English is my first language, but it's also the worst language I can speak.
It's hard. English is hard.
They really fucked it up. Adding 3 wheres.
Is there 3 wheres? There's 3 theres.
Where are you? What are you wearing? I was there when. Yeah, I was there.
So WHER.
Yeah, WERE.
Yeah. And this has been our literature lesson for the week.
But the premise is like you disassemble your body. Disassemble. Jesus. I feel like as the podcast go on, it's just figuring, yep, this is why you don't fucking just listen to me. Do your research. Make but
at least you haven't said you have like the best words or something yet.
That's true.
You haven't tried to sell your ability.
But so you can go all the way down to a head, and so with your head you just roll around and there's puzzles that you got to do. Puzzles aren't fun. The game is bland. This is back in the PS3 360 generation where gray and brown were like the fun colors.
They were the realistic colors.
They were the realistic, and it was just everything was just bland. But there was like these frogs or something that would eat your head, and basically you can't die, but you can't get out either. So the game just ends. So there is death, even though they say there's no death. But I probably spent 3 hours, and I was just like, yeah, I've seen everything.
If you had gotten to hour 4,
I think you're exact. Hour 5 is
the game the layers would have peeled off, and you would have had a 10 out of 10 game.
I think
you would have had.
That's all the fucking reviewers. They should have waited till.
You would have had Last of Us 2 quality.
Oh Jesus, you're right.
It would have been right there. It would have been game of the century.
Exactly right. I should have went to the 4th hour.
It's true. I mean, that's why they always say you're swinging into the 4th hour.
Well, let's just say there's a game that hasn't come up yet, but I've played so many games that I know exactly what a game's going to be. So I saw you added another one.
I did.
All right, so I'll let you go next.
Okay, so back when we were doing our single entree gaming, I saw a game at my local store. And I said, you know what? $3 seems fair. So I picked it up, brought it home, and it turns out you already owned it.
Oh, yes.
So, the game I'm talking about is Time Shift. I bought it on the PS3. It is also another one of those gray shooters.
Let's just go back. So, we were doing spike gifts, right?
No, this was for single entree gaming.
Okay.
We were going to play it for like an hour.
You came downstairs, and you looked at all my...
I looked at your PS3 games, and you didn't have it.
You're like, oh, Aaron, because I'm a collector. I have multiple systems. So Jeff's like, I'm just going to look at his PS3s. And then I was like, you showed it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's in my 360s. He's like, 360s? And you went and looked like, fuck.
I rotated his shelf around, and there it was.
But anyways, that's
so I finally decided to play it a little bit. And it's really boring. Like, it just... Even just, like, the controls sucked. Like, it was probably one of the worst controlled shooters I've ever played. And this was another one of those, if I'd gotten to the 4th hour, maybe. Maybe it would have opened up and become a really cool game.
I think if you can't start your game fun... Because I think it should go, you should start your game fun and then get boring and then get fun again.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't start fun, then, I mean, it's probably...
You gotta have a hook right at the beginning.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Time Shift was just another really bland shooter. And it just didn't feel fun to play.
We have our other CEO, the counterpart of Brendan. Who's another friend we can bring up?
I don't know who we have.
Kenny. This is Kenny.
It's going to be real odd when we add him to the podcast. He doesn't know it yet, but he's joining us.
If I lock in a basement.
Okay, so that's really all I had to say about Time Shift. Like,
yeah,
it didn't have a hook at the beginning. It was your typical, oh no, the bad guys have gotten the time powers, and now you got to stop them or something.
And that was back when Call of Duty was really taking off, and everybody's like, because the game industry does this, they go, we need our shooter, and then they build a shooter and they go, we can't do the Call of Duty controls because we don't want it to be exactly like it, so let's change up the button. Let's make circle shoot or circle reload. And it's like
no. R3 is to shoot.
That's okay.
Triangle is to melee.
Let me just. I just want to rant for just one second. I'm not no spoilers for Last of Us 2, but to reload your fucking gun, it's R2.
Ew.
I'm like,
ew. That's
it
gross.
took me so long to figure that out because I didn't play the first one.
Does it at least auto reload when you run out of?
No. Oh yeah. It'll, I think. Well, it probably will because I'll be like spamming the R2 button, and so I don't know, but that's just my little tangent of.
So speaking of games that had to do their version of it, you want to talk about that one?
Yeah. Kenny, you can go away. You're a good boy, but
he's not gonna go away. He's just gonna sit here.
So this other game, I think it was made by Ubisoft. The game's called Haze. And it's essentially, I think it was an exclusive to PlayStation 3. And it was supposed to be the Bungie killer. You know, they wanted to kill Halo. So we're going to call it Haze. And so the game, I don't really know, but it's a first-person shooter. And it has no trophies. So this was when I'm a trophy hunter, I'm not a platinum hunter. So I will go for any trophy that I can get. But once it gets too tedious, I'm like, don't care. So once I figured out that there was no trophies for the game and how boring it was to start off with, I'm like, I really don't care. So this is the only game that I've ever decided, let's just see how far I can run. so I always play on easy because one, I don't care, and two, I just prefer easy, you know. So I decided I'm gonna run through all these waves of enemies. You know, it's a on, not, I don't want to say on rails, but it's a tunnel.
It's a linear game.
So I'm like, okay, let's just see how far I can get. I probably got 5 minutes without having to heal up or shoot anybody. And the only reason I died was because I got stuck on a ledge and then everybody just started shooting me. And then it responded me like 5 minutes back because the checkpoints are terrible in that game. And I'm like, that's enough of that game.
So you said you didn't really know too much about the plot. I don't know a lot about it either, but it's something to do with military company has these drugs that make you see other people as monsters, or you don't see people that you know have died.
I gathered none of that in my game.
So they inject you with this stuff, and it wears off, or your mask breaks, or something. And you see this plane crash of all these dead people that you helped kill, or something.
Oh, really?
So I think it tried to also be Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah, because that came out about the same. That game did it better.
But this game was also like, you know, alien super soldiers or something like that. I don't know. I haven't seen too much of it. Phil had it on his bottom 5 shooters that he's never going to upload. It's lost to the ether at this point. Alright, so my next game is Lichdom Battle Mage.
Okay, this is the other one that I wanted you to talk. I think it was the other one that I was like,
because I was super excited about this one. I'm like, what wizard
oh, maybe
game?
It was Technomancer.
It's Technomancer. Technomancer is a different game that I also didn't play.
Okay.
But Lichdom,
terrible name. It just sounds really bad.
I mean, you might as well. It's probably more Battle Mage. It's probably the Lichdom. I don't know. I don't care. It was on PS4. The frame rate was god awful. Like, I can play. Like, I don't get like motion sickness when playing games, but the frame rate in this one was getting there. And the difficulty just spikes. Like you're like, okay, yeah, I'm beating up these guys or I'm using my wizard powers and I'm destroying these dudes. No, without any there's nothing that they're not really fighting back or whatever. And then you get to the boss and they just steamroll you. I'm playing on super easy mode and they still steamroll you.
I heard it's probably one of those games where they read your games that you've owned and they're like, oh, he's a Souls player, he'll love this game.
So anyway, the big appeal of the game, I thought, was that you can mix and match different runes to make new spells. But it's literally there's super complex thing, and they don't give you anything to start with. Like they give you fireball and they give you lightning. You can try to mix them, and you just get fireball.
Interesting.
It's but where's the lightning? Shouldn't that be part of it? And it felt like there was supposed to be more to it, but I wasn't getting any of it. Maybe it's just because it had one of the worst UIs and instructions. Maybe that was the case. But either way, I didn't. I tried it 3 times, and I couldn't get too much further past the first major boss. Because it's just
right.
Who cares? And the plot's something stupid oh yeah, wizards were ambiguously evil. Maybe we're good. I don't know.
Speaking of wizards, the movie Onward has something similar to that, where. I watched the cinema sense of this, so I never watched the actual movie.
Oh, no, don't say that. You can't claim that you've only seen the cinema sense. They don't know what they're doing over there.
But the premise is science is a lot easier than being a wizard. So everybody learns science stuff. And so wizards exist, but because it's so hard to become a wizard, that they just go, let's just learn science. And the guy who was doing the cinema science, he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it might be the opposite way around, because I think science is... Have you ever taken a chemistry class or something? So that made me think of it when you were talking about...
Well, wizardry is kind of chemistry, if you think about it.
True. Well, and then the main character, he just reads something and he makes the wand work. He's like, well, that just defeats the guy. He's like, that just defeats the purpose of... actually, you reminded me of a game that I didn't have on my list.
Oh no.
This game isn't bad. It went too far to try to be ambitious. The game's ugly, and I remember saying that it was ugly when the game. We co-opted it. You could be a wizard. You could be a warrior. And
okay, I got you.
Oh, what is it?
Is it Fantasy Life?
It's Fantasy Life. I completely forgot about this game. So this game's not terrible, but
it does have its fair share of flaws, including one huge, glaring flaw.
If you play co-op, you can't progress either games. You have to leave the co-op.
I think it was more of you could progress. No, could you progress?
No, neither one of you could progress.
I know you couldn't progress your class rank because you couldn't.
I don't think you could turn quests in either.
Yeah, that's why you couldn't progress your class rank. It's just. Yeah, you couldn't do the story mode either. I mean, to be fair, it's not like the story mode was all that great.
No, because
the bosses were just walls of text explaining the misunderstanding.
And the big enemies, the dragons, were ugly as hell. It's like
I get it's an art style, but
you look at them the head is bigger than the body. How the fuck is that thing standing up?
I think the worst part is you had to fight 7 different varieties of it.
Now let me just tell you, they all look the same, but the one's green, one's red.
One of them was a silhouette. One of them had no textures.
But I played as a wizard, and let me just tell you, they add your stamina and the powers of your wand into that same bar.
Your magic is your stamina.
So I would have to play far back, and Jacob was like a warrior or something.
I was a mercenary.
But the cool thing about this game is I think one of the very few games where you could play. You didn't even have to fight anybody. You could be a chef, and beat the game the same way as a wizard.
It just makes you wonder, though. So, there's a part where they're like, "Oh, you got to go to this, go fight the Dark Lord." Why are we sending a chef to do that?
Right.
Is Kenny doing something?
Does Kenny usually climb in the vent?
No.
He was kind of looking.
He's probably confused.
Kenny,
you get out of there.
All right, so I'll move on to. Oh, he's ripping.
Hey, Kenny.
This is why I don't have cats with claws.
You just go somewhere else.
I've never seen him do shit like that down here.
Climbing the vent?
No, not climbing the vent, but start ripping up your...
Oh, he does it on the back of the couch all the time. I hate it. Usually the other cat's down here to frighten him away.
Oh, okay. So I just want to... We're keeping this all in because it's great commentary, but I just kept watching when you were talking. I kept watching him go to the vent. I'm like, well, I hope he doesn't go in there because I might get trapped. But, so the next game, I've been alluding to this from the very beginning. I have played games my whole life. And most of the time, I can see a game and go, I really want to play this. But this game was around the time period for how many games I played in my life that I could tell that this game was going to be crap. And so the game's Homefront the Revolution. And if everybody knows, it's coming off of Homefront, which had a troubled history as well. So they're like, hey, we really liked Homefront. Let's make Homefront the Revolution. And that one just had another troubled history of development and stuff. And this game was not good. This game was on the PS4. It was boring as hell. There was nothing in the world.
Didn't it try to go for like a Division look or something?
Oh, it tried and it failed.
I remember you showing me the video of you entering a new zone, and the game had to stop to buffer.
Oh yeah, yeah. This was probably like 2015, I think. It was the first year or right after the first year of the new consoles, and I'm like, boy, this game's just terrible. And the enemies are boring. The areas are boring. There's nothing to search through. And I actually waited for the update to update the game, and it was still boring.
I mean, at least you didn't buy the DLC.
True.
There was DLC, right?
Fuck, I don't. Every game had
DLC.
But I remember. So this was about the time that I don't question reviewers. I don't question people in the media. But Brandon Jones of Game Trailers at the time was like, you could tell he was searching, but at the time you didn't know, because I remember him saying, "Yeah, you can ride a motorcycle around. That's really cool."
That's a selling point.
That was his selling point of the game. He's like, well, you can drive a motorcycle.
Somewhat related to another game.
But that's all I really have to say. But like I said, this is about the time that I can start telling. So now games that come out today, I can look and go, yeah, probably don't want to buy that day one. And I love, I think, another game we don't have on here is it was on Sony's platform for the past like 3 years at E3. Oh fuck! You own it. I saw it for $5 at our store, and then the DLC came out, a free DLC, and it upped it to $10 to $12, I think. And I was like, "Fuck that!"
You're talking about No Man's Sky, right?
No Man's Sky. I remember that game coming out. I didn't have this on my list, but that's another game it's shitty. But I remember that game coming out and looking at it and going, I don't know why everybody's getting so hyped up over this game. Because like every time I saw it, I'm like, this game just looks boring. And then you bought it and you played it. And I literally almost fell asleep because of how boring it was.
Yeah, I remember that, and I'm not gonna lie, it is a very boring game.
Even with all the updates, I'm just like,
I think it'd be cool if you had multiple people, but convincing other people to buy that?
Yeah, well, especially like
after all the stigma it's got now, like it's just bad.
I would have bought it, but like I said, it was $5 used, and this was before the Next thing popped up, the DLC Next, and then the Next came out, and then it's like, oh hey, we're charging $15 now for this pre-owned copy, the same copy that was there, a couple months ago. Yeah, we're upping the price on it now. I'm like, fuck no.
So, speaking of games that we knew were going to be bad just by looking at it, I don't have this on my list, but Godzilla 2015 is a huge contender for that.
Yes, you're right.
Like, the worst thing is they made the monsters look good.
And that's all they did.
Debatably, I guess. But
that's all they did. That's all the money they put in.
The worst thing is it plays like what Godzilla would feel like. It's slow. You just plot around. And then every mission becomes the same one until they decide, hey, let's drop a 100-meter monster on you. Oh, you're only 55 meters tall? Well, that's unfortunate. And it's usually the second mission, and usually the second mission is Batra Larva. And Batra Larva, if he has a size advantage on you, or is your size, will mess you up. And it was consistent. They would consistently drop a 100 meter on you, and
100 meters is the most, right?
It's not the most, but it typically so you start at 50 meters.
Okay.
And if you get like a perfect combo through the
and don't you have to destroy things to get bigger?
If you get a perfect combo through the first level, you're looking at probably 58. As like your maximum height before going into level 2.
Oh, okay.
And then, depending on how fast you move, which is going to be slow,
yes.
In level 2, you're probably going to be inching up to maybe 65. Here's the thing, once a monster's got 10 or more meters on you, you lose. And here's the thing about Batra. He hits incredibly quick. Like, he has I want to say he's got the fastest combos in the game.
Now, for anybody who doesn't know any, and I'm not saying I don't know anything about Godzilla, but what is Batra?
Batra is a worm.
That's right, I knew that.
He is the dark.
I didn't know that.
He is the dark version of Mothra.
Okay. Oh, and then when he... Okay.
But his larva state is he's just a big worm, and his attacks, he just spins around, and every thorn on him is a hit.
Oh, jeez.
So he will just do his spin, you will take every hit, you will get launched, and then he will spin up to you again. So, you just go into the second level, you just stand there until Batra decides to show up, you let him kill you, and then you come back when he's at 55.
Jeez.
But a lot of people have panned Godzilla to 15, so I don't really think I need to go into too much detail.
Right.
That being said, I did platinum it.
Yes, if you look at platinums, or look at trophies for that game, and just be amazed that somebody actually platinums that game.
I mean, all but 2 trophies are fine. It's just, you have to play through story mode hundreds of times. I mean, it's not like a long story mode. You can clear it in I want to say 30 minutes. But it still sucks. But anyway, so...
Do you want to go with my final game?
Oh, you're already on your final game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go to your final game.
Okay.
I've got 2 left, and I figure... Well, one of them is the final
game. Okay.
And
yeah,
then the other one... It's up there? It's a bad game?
So this game, I got it on the sale of the... if you guys remember the first episode of Cornucopia Cast, I was telling you about the GameStop 50% off sale. So if you buy 5 games, you get them all 50% off. So, and I saw this game a while ago, and I thought it looked... And this game came out in probably 2015, 2016, somewhere in there.
I can look it up.
Okay.
It
might be 2017.
I know. I looked up Metro and I didn't give you an answer when it came out. Oh, but it was 2019.
You did give me an answer.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
But this game's called. Did I say what the name was?
No, you have not.
It's Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter, and I remember seeing.
You didn't pronounce the lightning bolt in the name.
But so this game, it's one of those, dirty games that if you want to look at Japanese culture.
It came out in 2017.
Okay. It looks like a 2013 game. But the game is essentially really fucking boring. It has a cool premise, which I like, just being in in a school, and because I wish I took Chinese as a kid in high school. I wish I would have took Japanese, because I love Japanese culture. And so, just being in a Japanese game in, a Japanese school. But that game is so fucking boring. You have infinite ammo, which is nice. The game tries.
Now, do you have infinite ammo on like the basic gun, and then your
every gun's
okay.
every gun's infinite.
Okay, because I was thinking it was gonna be one of those games where it's like, oh, your pistol has infinite ammo.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought too.
But your shotgun, you got 12 shots.
But they were like, do we want to be like Call of Duty? No, no. Let's make our controls something different. So I don't remember. I think
you gotta use the waggle.
I think like L1 was to shoot or X was to shoot. I don't know. It was terrible. They add which is nice because I hate games like Borderlands and like Left 4 Dead. I think Left 4 Dead they add people. You know how there's 4 characters, and then if you play single player, they take out the other 3.
No, they
not
they left him as comms.
But in Borderlands, they take him out.
Yeah, in Borderlands they do.
Yeah, because
in Borderlands you play by yourself. You play by yourself.
Okay, so Left 4 Dead leaves him in, but Borderlands they take him out. But games like that. But no, they keep your comms with you, but your comms are so fucking stupid.
They don't have that radiant AI that Oblivion people had.
But you'll go there's like bathrooms, and you have to find there's secrets in places in the game. So you have to go in these tight corners, and your comms will follow you in there, and they don't know how to move. Like they didn't program the Alien Isolation or not Alien Isolation, Colonial Marine. That was like the first game that really brought out the...
Well, Fallout 4 also had that issue. A lot of the Bethesda games had that issue of where your AI-controlled companion will just sit in the doorway and you have to rub up on them to make them move.
Which I will say, with The Last of Us 2, no spoilers again, but you have an AI companion, and I'm glad that the game, at least on easy, the other AIs, the enemy AIs, they don't see your partner. Because your partner will literally stand up and go, "Yoo-hoo, over here! He's crouching right here!"
Oh, that's unfortunate, because Uncharted 4 had that.
Where your partners would get seen?
Yes, Uncharted 4 had that, and there's a specific trophy for getting through the highly infested area with enemies, and you have to bring your idiot brother along, and he goes, "An enemy, I can get him." And then he runs out there, and he gets shot, and then you look at it and you're like, now I gotta start over. Now I gotta load up the last checkpoint. Thanks.
Yeah. But this game, they add 4. It's you and then 4 other girls. And you're in this bathroom, and one will stand in the front of the door, 2 will stand right next to the stalls, and the other one will stand, wherever, and they don't know how to move out of your way. And you're on a time limit. I'm like... And I think you were in the party one time. I'm like, move your fucking ass, Jesus Christ! But that game is very, very, very bad. So do we go to our final? You said you had one more.
We've got 2 games. Well, we've got 2 games.
Combined one, and then.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess both of them are kind of combined.
Okay.
Anyway, one of them is WWE 2K20.
Oh, that's right. We talked about it, and I'm glad I told you to say.
Yeah, so this one's pretty recent. A lot of
Very recent, like in 2K20. Or in 2020, Jesus.
No, it's 2019.
English, do you speak it?
Anyway, so a lot of people probably already know what's up with this one. The most infamous thing, I want to say, is the fact that when the year rolled over, you couldn't play it.
Yeah, when you went from, this is called 2K20. And when you went from 2019 to 2020, the game was like, this game no longer exists.
Like it just wouldn't play.
People speculated that it was Yuke's, because Yuke's has been, so I've been a WWE fan up until probably like at least 2013, and then I kind of went off. I still played the games, and then there was a time period where you, Joe, and Brennan myself bought 2K18, and
oh man, that was
it was Brandon bought it too.
Yeah, you, Joe, and Brandon all bought the deluxe edition.
Yeah,
the digital deluxe edition.
Yes, and that was I fucking hate myself.
And then like 2 weeks later, Brendan and I finally got physical editions of
it wasn't 2 weeks later,
wasn't it?
It was so I bought mine. So it was, if you bought the deluxe edition, you got 3 days before the release date. So we were playing it 3 days before.
Okay, so I think I was the last to get it, though.
Yeah, because I think I paid half of it for you.
Yeah, you gave me $20.
Yeah, so...
And then something came up, because you were going to pay the full price, and then something came up, and I ended up owing you money, and I'm just like, you know what? Just don't worry about 2K20 anymore. I've already paid for the rest of it. It's fine.
But so 2K20, that game was just absolute shit. The story mode...
story mode was written by fans, it feels like.
Yeah, it was no, I don't say fans. I say people who have no idea, and they're just like, we're just gonna add characters to the game, you know.
It was okay. It was written by somebody who wanted to make WWE seem more spectacular than it really was.
So I've always said, because I played 2007. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 was probably the most I played of any game in history. I think I played it for a full year, and then after that. I've always wanted a fake story. I don't need, Road to WrestleMania. I don't need, this whatever the fuck they call it, showcase or whatever. But I was, always like, you're a fake company. You're a real company, but everything's fake about you. Just make a fake storyline.
Yeah, and they were doing that pretty well up until, like, what, 2009?
Well, until basically 2K. Yeah, because then they started going... Because then they went to Road to WrestleMania.
Because I know 2008 had the whole... Here's a bunch of different storylines that can be drawn out of a hat. By the way, they don't leave the hat after they're drawn.
Right.
You can get the same one twice.
Yeah, in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, it was...
The classic thing is Tommy Dreamer... So I hear you talking shit about ECW.
Well, why don't you come on my brand and win my belt?
And so I beat the shit out of him and got his belt, and then he sends another message. Exact same storyline. I heard you talking shit about ECW. I just beat you.
The biggest problem with that one is just after every arc, they always strip you of your title and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you did it. You were the champion, and then you lost it somehow.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that.
But so they decided to make their own original story. The Divas has always been... the women wrestlers, whatever you fucking want to call them, have always been
overshadowed.
The most popular women wrestlers always look good. The rest of the women wrestlers, let's just throw shit together. I mean, literally their eyes don't fucking blink.
So the premise of 2K20's story mode is that you play as two characters who are both super into WWE.
Yeah, it's a little too creepy. Like,
they're in high school and they're sitting there making a list of all the things that they're going to do in WWE. Kenny, please, calm down.
Well, you go ahead and keep talking. I'm going to take care of Kenny.
Okay, so you spend the whole game... You've got this list of things that you're going to do, and occasionally things get added to the list. Because they're like, oh, we need to do this. I need to prove that I'm the best at tennis. Or whatever. And we sat down, we watched a playthrough of it. Because neither one of us were touching this one with a 10-foot pole. And it was just bad. The parts that weren't bad were just boring. And then there was parts that were both boring and bad. And yeah, that's not including all the glitches and how people would phase through the ring, and then the ropes would just not work. And yeah, it didn't look fun to play either. I'm sure that they just remapped the controls to say, oh well, it's a new game because it doesn't play the same way as the old game, but it's still the same game. I don't know, I'm running out of things to say here.
Don't worry. Kenny says you're doing a good job.
That's good.
And he respects everything about you. And then he calls you a little bitch.
Yeah, that
Fuck, I don't know why.
That sounds about right. So you threw him out the back door, right?
Yeah. That's a good loss, Kenny. Never call my brother a bitch. Well, let's go ahead and move on if you have nothing else. So
yeah, I was struggling there.
So the final game we'll talk about today, because we are running a little long. I'm actually surprised.
Well, we kept adding games.
That's true.
Through.
I sat there all week. I thought about games, and I only came up with like 3. And then I looked at my games, and I came up with another 2. And I was like, then as we were talking, I'm like, oh yeah, this game and this game and this game. But the single-handedly the worst game has ever been made.
I wouldn't call it the worst game. There's probably some that are worse than this one, but this one is probably the most critically panned game.
Yes.
Especially for the last generation of games.
Yes. It got mainstream. It was probably one of the closest games that never hit mainstream, but they get close to mainstream. Because everybody was talking about Right to Hell Retribution. Now, let me just tell you. This was... I don't know who it was made by. I guarantee it was made by a guy. Because I'll admit, I've like had these fantasies too. I'm like, oh, if I save a woman... then I could have, and it really fucked up if you think about it. And when seeing it in principle, I'm like, yeah, that's really kind of, but like this girl's like about to get raped or something, and then he comes in,
punches the guy out,
and then
they proceed to go to a boxing ring, and
and then
get it on with their clothes still on.
Like they even show close-ups of like the ass and stuff, like the pants. They still have their pants on.
And they're as crusty as ever.
So the premise of this game is you're this guy who looks like every generic motorcycle guy rider. I don't know. And the voice acting is terrible. But you're in this motorcycle gang, and you get jumped by
You are not in the gang.
Your brother's in the gang?
No, your dad
is in the gang.
He was in the gang.
I'm gonna call him Biker Jesus.
Except he really wasn't.
He just had white hair. I was like, he looks like God.
No, that's your uncle.
Oh, is that your uncle?
That's your uncle.
Okay, never mind.
So, the deep lore of this game.
That's right. You watched 2 playthroughs of this game.
Is your dad made a bet. He lost the bet to another guy who was in the same gang as him. And the bet was something about winning a race or whatever, and he had bet his wife because he's an idiot. And he's like, oh no, I'm not actually giving you my wife. I'm out of here. Goodbye. And so he leaves, and the other guy is super salty. So he's like, look, we're just going to kill all of them. Kill that guy, kill his wife, kill his kids, whatever. And so your dad hands you and your brother off to your uncle, and... he is basically a biker god. It's God in a leather jacket. And so your brother... So you, the player character, go to Vietnam. I'm pretty sure it's Vietnam. And you come back, your brother's angsty. He wants to wear your dad's jacket. Your biker god tells him, hey, don't do that.
What, somebody gonna roll up and kill me?
So he wears it anyway because, biker guy can't tell him what to do. And then this other gang who is working for the guy who wanted your dad dead sees the jacket, and they kill your brother because he's wearing it.
And then you have the worst dialogue. The main character goes, no!
Fade to black. Now you are wearing the crusty jacket, and you are now killing the largest gang known to man.
In the glitchiest game known to humankind.
And so, there's a scene where there's an electric fence, and your guys are like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go steal that gasoline truck. Now you're thinking, oh, is he going to take the truck and ram it through the fence? No, he's not. He takes it down the highway, takes it to the dam, and then blows up the dam, cutting the power off of the fence. And then he comes back to the fence and just climbs over. Yes! That is your first thought. Yes, maybe if I just shut off power for this entire county.
I'm pretty sure it was one man. He's worked at multiple companies. He goes, well, let's just do this. And the company goes, well, that's just stupid. He's like,
well, I'll just go make my own game then.
He's like, well, fine. I'll take my ball. I'm going to make my own game. And then...
And so, the worst thing is, when it's not buggy, it's just boring.
Yeah.
Like, every combo feels the same. I would assume.
Every
I
enemy
haven't
looks the
played it.
same.
Every enemy is generic biker man. None of them are biker god. Some enemies put on a hockey mask, which makes them immune to headshots. 'Cause, hockey.
Of course.
Hockey masks are just indestructible. We learned this on Friday the 13th. And yeah, so you just go and it's your basic revenge story about how they killed your brother, and now you have to kill literally every person in that
and
state.
sleep with every single woman that you see.
With their clothes on.
There's literally, I think there's 4 or 5 sex
I want to say
scenes?
there's 4.
It's just dumb. It's just, but yeah, that and that game has been basically blacklisted from. I think I said blackballed earlier.
You might have,
but it's been blacklisted from like Steam. Steam doesn't even have it.
Yeah, they took it off. At one point, you could still get it on Steam if you had bought a code from Amazon. Like they would still honor that. But those are probably all sold out at this point.
And then you can't find it in, like, when GameStop on their website, it just says you can't buy it. Like, they don't have any copies. Which is fine, because the game sucks. And I don't think I would ever play it, but it'd be nice to have something on your shelf. Like, just
at one point, I was considering it.
I've held it in my hand.
At one point, I was like,
I think it was like $30. I'm like, that's too much.
I'm like, if I find this, I'm probably gonna buy it. And then I looked at the Chivo list, and I said, maybe I won't. Because you gotta collect trading cards, and some of those are on the biking routes. And let me tell you about the biking routes.
Oh yeah,
so they didn't program a way. At least from what it sounds like, they didn't program a way to go in reverse.
Oh yeah.
So what they did is, if you slow down enough, the game fades to black, and then just drops you off somewhere behind where you were. And yeah.
Yeah, the game is it's probably the worst game. Not the worst game, but it's close to probably one of the worst games.
It's probably it's probably the worst game of the 2010s.
Yeah.
And if it's not,
actually,
it's up
what's funny is it was the final. I think it was the final year for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, because I can look it up. Yeah, look it up, because I believe that it came out in early 2013. And then the new consoles launched in 2013, at the end of 2013.
Fun fact, it did get DLC.
Did it really?
It did.
I don't know if they ever made it.
It came out in 2013.
Yep. Did it say the date?
June 24th.
Oh, okay, so summertime.
I do not know.
Wow, June 24th?
Yes.
What's today?
The 29th. 8th.
Oh,
28th.
Okay, well, it's close. Wow.
I mean, it's the closest we could get with the podcast.
Oh, so we'll start wrapping up here. If you listen to our other podcasts, we ranked.
It came out on July 4th in Australia.
Is it America? Yeah.
Patriotic.
Like, take this, Australia. If you guys listen to our other podcasts, Cornucopia Cast, we talked about Fable 3 and
Perfect Dark.
And today, not today. We record these on Sundays, and then we post them up. I don't know why I picked Thursday, but
because nobody else posts on Thursday.
Surprisingly enough, which is funny. Just a little tangent. Ben Hansen of Game Informer, he left probably about 6 or 7 months ago from Game Informer and started his own company called MidMax. And for some fucking reason, which he's like, I really love Game Informer. And the reason he left is because GameStop laid off a bunch of people, and I think that was just his message saying, "I better get the fuck out of here." So he's like, "I'm going to do a podcast." And he launches it on Thursday. And so I'm like, okay. You really like your old... and Game Informer, they have a podcast. And they launched it on Thursday as well. So it's like, you really love your
Thursday is a popular day. It's almost Friday.
It's almost Friday, and we get the best to compete with. We only do it on YouTube. But, so what was I saying?
You were talking about how
the games,
Fable and Perfect Dark.
So Sunday, whatever. This past Sunday, Microsoft either tweeted or said something like, "Hey, we're sorry for."
Somebody had found that the handles for both Fable and Perfect Dark were taken. And then there was one follower for both of them, and they were both Microsoft related. So a lot of people were thinking that they were kind of gearing up for something, and Microsoft's just like,
So
we were just holding on to them.
So we're just throwing that here. If something happens for Fable and Perfect Dark, yes, you can thank us. We already take your comment. So I think that'll do it for this week's. This is the longest one, which I thought was going to be the shortest one.
Well, when we keep adding stuff,
when we're at the 20 mark, I'm like, we're getting close. I'm like, okay, there's probably going to be probably in about 30 minutes. That's fine. But
yeah, I was kind of thinking this was going to be a short one.
So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tune back next week. Next week, we already have next week's episode. So next week's, no, we don't have next week's, but next week is going to be the ranking of all the games of 2020 so far.
Yeah, the first 6 months.
Yeah, so we got a couple. Next week will probably be short since I don't think we played that many. But
yeah, I'm going to have to look at my list because I've been playing a lot of old games lately.
Right, and I think we won't, and then that'll lead up to the end of, if we're still doing this, by the end of 2020, we'll rank
the second half of 2020.
Well, we'll rank all of them together.
Okay,
and then we'll do the top 10 or whatever. Whatever.
Were there more than 10 games that came out this year?
It'd be close. It depends if the PS5 comes up. But anyways, all right. Thanks for listening, guys.
See ya.